Bradford Bypass finally happened. This is an essential part of infrastructure that farmers require to ship the produce that help feeds over 55% of Ontario and Canada. Farmers are the stewards of the land and have been one of the biggest supporters of this link to happen from the beginning. As communities around agriculture continue to expand, farmers are required to have safe, accessible roads to get Ontario's produce to the markets. Gridlock's unacceptable. We should not have to worry about tractors versus cars, the safety of our farmers, or the commuters. From the soup and salad bowl of Canada and Ontario, we thank you. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Premier of Ontario, His Honour Doug Ford.
That's good. Well, hello and good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Jody, for being here and for that introduction. And a special thank you for Quentin from Gwillimdale Farms for having us here today. I'm so pleased to be here, joined by Minister Mulroney in Bethlenfalvy and West Gwillimbury Mayor Rob Keffer, along with East Gwillimbury Mayor Virginia Haxon. Last week, our All-Star Minister of Finance, Peter Bethlenfalvy, unveiled the government's plan for growing a stronger economy, an economy that works for everyone. It's a plan that will protect our progress in our fight against COVID-19, but also looks beyond to the Ontario we want to build, to the future we want for our kids and grandkids. It's a plan that will attract investment, restore and create good jobs in our steel, auto, and manufacturing industries. It's a plan that will unleash the economic potential of our North as we build up homegrown supply chains for electric vehicles and battery manufacturing right here in Ontario. Attracting more investment, restoring good manufacturing jobs, unleashing our economic potential, none of that is possible without skilled workers. That's why our government is expanding job training. It's why we're encouraging more young people to enter the skilled trades, while breaking down the barriers that have stopped hardworking newcomers from finding good jobs because of unfair requirements for in-province experience. As we do so, we're also investing in Ontario's communities with better health care and stronger local infrastructure. Friends, it's all linked. Ontario's economy is a machine. If one part of that machine isn't working to its full potential, it holds us all back. But when Ontario is firing on all cylinders, well, world, watch out. There's no other place anyone would rather start a business, work, or raise a family. That's why our government is fully funding the construction of the Bradford Bypass. This project is a critical part of our plan that's building Ontario. The Bradford Bypass will be a new 4-lane freeway connecting Highway 400 in Simcoe County and Highway 404 in York Region. Communities in this area have been asking governments for years and decades for a solution to the worsening traffic congestion. But their voices fell on deaf ears of previous governments who turned their backs on commuters. Past governments, our opponents, they side with ideological activists who oppose any and all highways over hard-working families. For decades, they said no to building the roads and highways needed to address the needs of the province's growing population. That changes now. Today's announcement is more proof that our government is on that right track to say yes. Yes to putting shovels in the ground for new highways, so you don't spend hours and hours stuck in gridlock and can get home to your family that much sooner. Yes to building houses you can afford, making home ownership attainable for those working to achieve it. And yes to creating more steady, well-paying jobs and growing Ontario's economy. We're saying yes to building for the future of Ontario because we know that this new bypass helps get people where they need to go much faster. And we also know it will help to get goods to the market faster. More than $785 million worth of goods move Ontario's highways every single day. The transportation system is the backbone of our export-driven economy, and the trucking industry makes up to 40% of the jobs in that sector. And the current infrastructure is totally inadequate for our mission to build a better Ontario for everyone. Projects like the Bradford Bypass help get people and goods where they need to go much faster. Drivers traveling between highways 400 and 404 on the Bradford Bypass would be able to make up that trip 60% faster compared to the existing routes, saving up to 35 minutes each way. That's over an hour both ways, 5 times a week. Folks, do the math. Those are staggering numbers. And I want to be clear, our plan for building roads, bridges, and highways doesn't include tolls. This is the type of real change that people can feel, because you should be spending more time doing the things you want, not sitting in your car for hours and hours on end. And I can't overstate what this will do for workers. This project will generate 700 jobs per year on the average during construction. And as everyone knows, we are 100% committed to our workers and ensuring they have good jobs and more money in their pockets instead of the government's. I can tell you, we have consulted broadly with those who will be most impacted by this project, and they're in full support of its construction. My friends, our government is committing $144 billion into infrastructure projects. That's the largest investment in Ontario's history and in Canada's history. We're building hospitals, we're building schools, and building roads that will help drive our economic growth. We're delivering real progress that will be felt all over the great province of Ontario as we build an Ontario that's the greatest place to live and work. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll hand it over to Minister Mulroney.
Thank you, Premier. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. I'm so proud to be here at Gwillimdale Farms today with Premier Ford and Minister Bethlenfalvy. I also want to thank local Member of Parliament, my friend Scott Davidson, as well as Mayor Keffer, Mayor Haxon, Jody Mott of the Holland Marsh Growers Association, and Quinton Woods of Gwillimdale Farms for joining us today. The need to build in Ontario has never been greater. And let me tell you, there's no bigger champion for transportation and transit than Premier Ford. Our PC government is taking population growth seriously, because without strong action, this growth will overwhelm our existing infrastructure. In the next 2 decades, over 2 million people will call York Region and Simcoe County home. And our roads and highways must keep up. Our government is making historic investments in public transit, but we know that transit alone is not enough. We must be able to rely on a robust highway network as well. Congestion in this region already exists, and it will only get worse without key projects like the Bradford Bypass. Gridlock doesn't just hurt drivers. It hurts businesses, the environment, and our economy. The Bradford Bypass will save drivers up to 35 minutes one way. That's more than an hour per day, and more than 5 hours back in your week for you to spend with your loved ones. Cutting congestion will also reduce greenhouse gas emissions that will result from bumper-to-bumper traffic and will help get goods to market quicker. I'm here today in a unique position as both Minister of Transportation and MPP for York Simcoe, where this 16.2-kilometer highway will get built. And I can tell you that congestion on Highway 400 and our local roads has been the #1 issue that I've been hearing from constituents since being elected. But this problem is not new. For decades, drivers in this region have demanded a connecting link between Highways 400 and 404. The Bradford Bypass is a project that was championed by my predecessor, Julia Monroe, for 23 years. And it was Julia's work that helped get the first environmental assessment for the project done in 2002. And it's this government, under the leadership of Premier Ford, that is saying yes to finally getting shovels in the ground. Pendant des décennies, les conducteurs de cette région demandent un lien de raccordement entre les autoroutes 400 et 404. Et c'est ce gouvernement, sous le leadership du Premier ministre Ford, qui finalement dit oui à mettre des pelles dans le sol. We're making great progress with the 2-phase design-build procurement already underway.
The expression of interest to deliver early works on the Bradford Bypass will be closing this week. Each step of the procurement process will bring us closer to awarding the design-build contract expected next March so that we can get shovels in the ground as soon as possible. And as we move forward, we're committed to consulting with the public and stakeholders. Working together, we'll be able to balance the technical needs of the highway with environmental and property considerations. I'm proud to be part of a government that's not afraid of taking bold action. We're building for all Ontarians, families, workers, and businesses. Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Minister Bethlenfalvy.
Well, good day, everyone, and thank you, Minister Mulroney. It is a sincere pleasure to be with all of you here today. Last week, I released our government's 2021 Fall Economic Statement, our plan for jobs, our plan for opportunity, our plan to build Ontario. C'est notre plan pour créer des emplois, notre plan pour créer des possibilités, et notre plan pour bâtir l'Ontario. In our plan, we are making historic investments in projects that will make a real difference in communities across the province by getting things done for everyday people. As the Premier would say, it's time to get to work building Ontario. For too long, our roads, highways, and transit systems have not kept pace with our growing population. This not only impacts commuters with too many precious hours wasted stuck in traffic instead of time spent with family and friends, it also slows down goods and services reaching their destination and creates a drag on our economic productivity. Gridlock is already costing the Greater Ontario area $11 billion per year in lost productivity. And without real leadership today, it will only get worse. More gridlock, more traffic, more emissions, more time wasted, more opportunities missed. Tomorrow's prosperity depends on getting shovels in the ground today. La prospérité de demain repose sur les chantiers qui sont lancés aujourd'hui. We have a plan to get Ontario drivers out of gridlock and improve our economic productivity. And here's how. Our plan allocates $2.6 billion to expand and repair more than 580 provincial highways and bridges right across Ontario. And the Bradford Bypass is an important part of this plan. As the Premier and Minister Mulroney have already said, the Bradford Bypass will get drivers in this region out of gridlock and home to their families. But that's not all. Our highway plan includes other key projects, such as the reconstruction of the Essa Road Overpass Bridge on Highway 400 in Barrie, the replacement of the Grand River Bridges on Highway 401 in Cambridge, and the Highbury Avenue interchange on Highway 401 in London. Our plan also includes an additional investment of $1 billion over the next 5 years through the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund to support critical road and bridge construction, rehabilitation and repair in communities right across the province. It is our firm belief that projects like the Bradford Bypass will drive our economy into the future, creating jobs, prosperity, and opportunity for the people of Ontario. And it will be a game changer for this region of the province and the province as a whole. Investing in assets like the Bradford Bypass will play an important role in improving Ontario's economic productivity for the long term. The Bradford Bypass alone is expected to generate more than $70 million in annual real GDP and attract investment and jobs to Ontario. It's an important part of our government's prudent and responsible plan, a plan to protect the progress we have made, a plan to build for the future, and a plan to work for the workers who make it all happen. With that, I will say thank you and pass things along to Mayor Keffer, Rob from Bradford West, Gwillimbury. Mayor Keffer, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. And that's the main thing I want to say this morning. Thank you to the Premier for being here this morning to support our community. Thank you to Gwillimdale Farms and the Holland Marsh Growers Association for hosting us, making clear the position of local farmers in favor of this piece of infrastructure. And thank you to Minister Caroline Mulroney for everything you have done to invest in and deliver for this community. We're here because for decades, growth in Bradford West Gwillimbury has come, and we have worked hard to deliver it in a sustainable, smart growth way. But as that growth came, starting in the 1980s, investment in an east-west artery between Highways 400 and Highway 404 did not. That didn't stop traffic. It just meant traffic choked up our downtown, clogged our local roads, resulting in speeding in residential neighborhoods, exhaust fumes next to downtown restaurants, and commuters stuck in traffic on local roads and rural roads. This lack of an east-west artery hurts our quality of life. It harms our environment. It hurts our downtown businesses and the ability to revitalize the downtown into a walkable destination. It also hurts our farmers, who now compete with commuters on rural and urban roads rather than efficiently getting their product and goods to market, the food we all eat. It also impacts safety. We have only one route out of town to the east, and if there is an accident, it is a major issue for our emergency services. The Bradford Bypass will unlock employment lands and lock in Bradford's urban boundary, ensuring that we grow in a smart, sustainable, compact way, a community we can enjoy, not more sprawl. The bypass is also part of a multimodal transportation, from trails along our riverfront to investments to improve our GO station and deliver 15-minute service. We need this link. We asked for it for over 30 years. So let me put it this way, in a different way. We've asked for this link as long as my councillor, who is chair of the Downtown Revitalization Committee, has been alive. That's how long we've been asking for this. We are grateful to the Premier, to Minister Mulroney, to Minister Bethlenfalvy, and to the provincial government for delivering this bypass in the fall economic statement. Efficiently moving goods and people away from our residential neighborhoods is good for our farmers. We need to divert urban traffic from rural roads for our farmers, or they will get so frustrated they will just leave. We need to have this piece of infrastructure for an efficient, effective, food-producing community. The link is better for our environment than gridlock. It is good for economic development, and it is good for growing in a sustainable way with a clear urban boundary, not sprawl. I'd like to thank members of the council that are here today. They have supported this project, knocking on doors, multiple elections. It's been the #1 question at the doors of our community. Deputy Mayor James Leduc, Councillor Sandu, Councillor Scott, Councillor Lamb, Councillor Ferragini, Councillor Contois, and Councillor Dykey. Thank you for being here. Let me just say to those who oppose this highway, you should speak to the locals. They know we need it. Thank you once again for delivering this critical piece of infrastructure. Thank you. Thank you, Premier. And now I'll introduce Mayor Haxton, the Mayor of East Gwillimbury.
Thank you very much, Mayor Keffer. I'm joined today with Councillors Roy DiClemente, Persicini, Crone, and Foster. Good morning to everyone. It is my pleasure to be here today as part of this important announcement. On behalf of East Gwillimbury Council, I acknowledge and thank the province for its commitment to building the 400-404 connecting bypass. It is so important for us to work together with all partners to build communities that are safe and where traffic is not congested. The Bradford Bypass, when built, will do just that. This investment will connect communities, reduce gridlock, and grow our economy. And we are committed to protecting the environment also. As the province completes its environmental assessment for this project, our municipality is eager to be at the table to seek public input and to ensure that we proceed in a way that's safe for the environment and for the community. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Good
Okay, we're ready to take questions. For the journalists here that have a question, if you could just line up in front of this microphone here. And just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up.
Good morning.
Good morning, Premier. Matthew Bingley from Global News.
How you doing, Matthew?
The last environmental assessment that was completed was nearly 25 years ago. What are you going to do to commit to ensuring that something like that is done before shovels go in the ground on this project?
Well, this would be best for Minister Mulroney.
Thank you for the question. Yes, a full environmental assessment process was done and completed many years ago. When our government revived the project, we committed to restarting the EA and updating it. And so there are a number of important studies that need to be done, and they're currently in process. It'll take a little bit more time to complete, and we'll be in a position to put shovels in the ground once that environmental assessment process is complete.
And it's been noted that as soon as a project like this is completed, there's something called induced demand, where that relief that you're talking about doesn't actually appear. You drive up and down the 400, you see all the farmland has disappeared in favor of sprawl. What guarantees do you have to make sure that this beautiful farmland that we're on right now won't suffer that same fate?
Well, the demand and the need for this highway has been here for decades, as you heard Mayor Keffer say. Longer than many of the people, some of the people on council have been alive. People have been talking for this because congestion has been a problem for decades. So the need for the highway has been here for some time, and it's going to meet the demands for today, but also as our population continues to grow, it will be here for years to come for the population that will be arriving.
Hi, Mr. Mulroney or Premier. How much of this rush to get it to happen quickly is about, having things moving before the election?
Well, I think as you heard, Julia Monroe, my predecessor, championed this project back in the late 1990s. The environmental assessment process was done early 2000s. So there's certainly no rush here. The need is great. As I said, the need to build this Bradford Bypass has been around for decades, and so we're trying to get it done because we know that the need is great. The Premier might want to comment on some of the economic necessities that are created by the pandemic, but I can tell you that from the locals living here in Simcoe County and York Region, it's important that we get this infrastructure built.
Well, thanks for the question, Mike. It's absolutely critical we start getting goods from point A to point B in a much faster fashion than what's been going on. You ever come down the 400, it is just bumper to bumper. And talking about greenhouse gases, it doesn't help when it's bumper to bumper. We need to get traffic moving, and we're going to get traffic moving. We're going to get the economy moving as well.
And Premier, there's another road building project that's mentioned quite prominently in the fall economic statement that I wanted to ask you about, which is the road to the Ring of Fire. Mm-hmm. You yourself said
Yep.
you'd climb on a bulldozer yourself to make it happen.
Yep.
What do you say, though, to the First Nations that have a lot of concerns about that development happening?
So we've been consulting with the First Nations community right from day one, Mike. I believe there's two. That I guess are a couple hours away. The other I believe 7 are gung-ho to move forward. We're always going to consult with the Indigenous community, First Nations community up there. This is going to benefit so many people from First Nations communities up there. They're going to have good paying jobs. They're going to be part of the investments. They're going to be able to build roads, not just to get up to the mines, but also to get goods up there a lot quicker as well. This is just a massive win for the First Nations community, and we're going to work side by side with them. And we do nothing up there without making sure there's a buy-in from the vast majority of the communities up there, because they're going to benefit. And I look forward to working with them. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm great. Thank you very much, Mr. Premier. How are you today, first of all?
Good. Yeah,
Good.
great. Mike needs a haircut, by the way.
For me?
Yeah, Mike does. No, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
From
Mike
CBC.
is
I'll pay for the haircut.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we got to go
okay,
to.
Sorry.
We know that the world's climate is changing, We know that vehicular traffic is a large contributor to that changing. More highways it increases more traffic, more cars on the road, and increases the environmental consequences. Why is building this highway so important that it's taking away from the global warming or adding to global warming?
Yeah, that's an absolute excellent question, folks. We're doing as a government the biggest fundamental change to greenhouse gases anywhere in the country, and let me explain that. We've been really working hand in hand with the big 5 auto manufacturers, not only manufacturing cars, but we're going to be the #1 manufacturer of electric battery operated cars in North America. Those are staggering figures. We're investing billions of dollars in conjunction with the auto sector to make sure that we're not only going to manufacture the batteries here, but also manufacture the cars. And that is just I guess fundamentally one of the largest programs that will reduce greenhouse gases. Building more transit. We're spending $29 billion on building subways, getting people out of cars, building $60 billion of Metrolinks, getting people out of cars. We're expanding roads and infrastructure until people aren't stuck in backlog traffic, for hours. And this is a great project, and I'm so excited about the electric battery operated cars that are going to bring the emissions coming out of vast majority of vehicles many years down the road down to nothing. So this is going to be absolutely massive. No government's ever put this commitment forward, but we're doing that, and we're going to reduce greenhouse gases.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.